So for number 1, we're trying to find which x values we're going to have a function value of 6. So look on the line to see where the output is 6, where the y value is 6. And so here we have a y value of 6, and also over here. So which x values give us that output? It would be the x value of -6 and also the x value of 4. And b would be similar. Which x value is going to give you a function value of -3? So where is our output at -3? And it's just in this one spot, and the x value is 2. For number 8 here, if you look at the formula y equals mx plus b, we know the slope, so we can replace the m with 1/4. And now we just need to solve for b, and we'll be done. We know a point it goes through, x value 2, y value 0. So if we come down here and put y value 0 equals 1/4 x value 2 plus b. That point has to be on that line since the line passes through the point. So if you plug in those point values, we'll figure out what b is. So 1/4 of 2 would be a half. So if we come over here, we're going to get 0 equals 1/2 plus b. Plus b. Subtract a half from both sides and you can solve for b. So now we know what b is. So to sum it all up, we have y equals 1/4 x, and we've solved what b is. Here we have a car rental situation. So what's the y-intercept signify? What's the slope signify? The y-intercept would be an x value of 0. And here x is the number of miles driven. So if you think of having driven 0 miles total, what value would you get? Plug a 0 in here for x. You would get the value, so x is 0. You'd still owe $100. The y value would be 100. You'd owe $100. So what that $100 is just the down payment that you owe for renting the car. The slope is the number multiplied by x. So I guess we have it written here. Y, or f of x, equals the slope times x plus b. So that slope is the number we multiply by x. And think of that in terms of car rental. If every mile you drive, you're multiplying it by 25 cents. That's the cost per mile that you're driving. So the slope is the cost per mile, 25 cents for every additional mile, and the y-intercept is that upfront fee of $100. So how far did you drive if it cost $200? Well, put $200 in here for our output. And we just need to figure out what the x value would be that would give us that output of 200. So subtract 100 from both sides. And think of that we're subtracting away the that constant there. It's that initial fee you're paying, $100. So if you paid $200 total, but $100 of that was the initial fee, we subtracted that now. What we have left is $100 extra we're paying based on our miles driven, and that equals 0.25 times x. So divide both sides by 0.25, and you'll get that 400 equals x. So interpret that. It means we drove 400 miles. We paid 25 cents per mile. So that's $100 based on the miles we drove. $100 is that upfront fee, so it costs us a total of $200. 13 here, we have f of x and g of x, and we just want to add those two things together. So we're going to try to add x plus 2. We're going to try to add that to 2x squared minus 10 divided by 2. Let me actually copy paste that so I get my fraction showing up good. There we go. So we're trying to take this first thing, x plus 2, and add it to g of x, which is right here. Now, just like with adding any fractions, they have to have the same denominator. So if we multiply this to have a denominator of 2, you'd have to multiply on top and bottom by 2. Let me insert that fraction really quick. So what we have right now, f of x is just x plus 2 over 1. And we don't even write the divided by 1 because when you divide by 1, it doesn't change the value any, so we just write x plus 2. But to view it as a fraction, we want to think of that denominator as 1. So to change it to 2, we need to multiply on bottom by 2, and also multiply everything on top by 2. So that'll give us 2x plus 4. Multiply everything on top by 2. So now, like with adding fractions, the denominator doesn't change. And you just add the top parts together. So on top we have all of this plus all of that. So we also need to add the 2x and add the 4. So I added everything on top together and left the denominator. And the only thing we can really reduce on top is the minus 10 and the plus 4. That would give us minus 6. So let me get rid of that 10. So that's what it would reduce down to. In number 7 here, it's an investment situation. Complete the ordered pairs for the given data. So if the x value is 0, x is the number of years since 2000. So it's been 0 years since 2000. What's the y value? Y is the amount of his investment. Well, how much did he have initially in the year 2000? It's just that $10,000 because his investment just started. So whatever he put in 2000, that's what he has. And then here we're asking, when his investment is $31,000, what's the x value? $31,000 happens in the year 2007, and the x value should be the number of years since 2000. So 2007 is 7 years later. So that's where we get the two ordered pairs. So we need to do the slope formula here with 2 points. So you take 31,000, the y values, you subtract them on top, minus 10, so that's the top, subtract the y's, and on the bottom subtract the x's. So you're going to get 21,000 on top divided by 7, which comes out to just 3,000. So we're having y equals mx plus b, y equals 3,000x plus b. But we actually know what b is. B is a y-intercept, which is the value when x equals 0. So when x equals 0, we actually had $10,000. So let's interpret the slope of the line. So for every year after 2000, we're multiplying by 3,000. So think of that as if it's been 1 year later, we would 3,000 times 1 is $3,000. If it's been 2 years later, 3,000 times 2 is $6,000. 3 years later, 3,000 times 3 is $9,000. That 3,000 is how much extra we're making per year. So you start off with this basis of 10,000, multiply by how many years it's been, and you get your new total value. So if we continue to grow at $3,000 per year, how much are we going to have in 2010? That's 10 years later. So we can plug a 10 into this formula. We'd have y equals 3,000 times 10, so $30,000 in growth, plus the initial 10,000. Our y value, the amount of our investment, is 40,000.